Welcome back, everyone, once again to the Alienware Analyst Desk. I am Kelly Lincoln. We got Anatoly and Ro here for the final matchup of today. It is the final semifinals for Console League, everyone. It's Astral Authority versus Obey Alliance.
It's going to be spring and summer champions Astral Authority against the Season 3 champions Obey Alliance. This should be a lot of fireworks in the best of 3.
There's a lot of fireworks going on here, and I know that there's a lot of fans having a good time, but if you aren't able to be here, guys, we still want to make sure that you get a lot of the swag as well and a lot of the cool stuff. So we do have, if you link and watch the Smite World Championships on Twitch, you get a chance to win some awesome in-game content, and that is the only way that you are able to get the hi-rez Expo Loki skin. You can also get that on Mixer as well.
A lot of cool skins that we're giving away here, so don't miss your opportunity during HRX.
But enough about skins. Let's talk about this matchup. I mean, the last matchup we saw, I didn't think it was going to be as close as it was. This is Astral Authority versus Obey Alliance. Like you said, the previous World Championships versus AA, who has not lost a single land this season.
They have a lot of momentum riding behind them, and honestly, I think that that's what's going to give them the edge here. What do you think here, bro?
I think this is going to be one of the best games of this week, to be honest with you. This is a previous World Championship team versus the team that wants to knock them straight off of their throne.
So Obey didn't have a great season, but they seem to perform a lot better at LANs. What happened during their online season?
Well, sometimes certain teams might get a little bit too comfortable. Obey Alliance definitely show up to play on LAN every single time here, despite having a relatively new hunter, Zachsy, that's gotten accustomed to this roster now. He hasn't been a part of the Core 5 roster that won that Season 3 Worlds. He's adjusted very well, and he knows what it takes to help Obey Alliance get these victories. Against Astral Authority, though, could be a different story here up against Transonics versus Zachsy.
That's a tall ask. These guys have been smashing it all year, right? But if anybody's going to do it, it's going to be the team that has the experience and has the momentum from last Worlds to bring it back.
Something interesting about Astral Authority is that they kind of pick unconventional picks.
That's true. Like, they're always going for those original picks here. But, you know, Astral Authority, we're looking at a lot of just very famous names here all across the board, no matter what role you're looking at. And it's very scary whenever you're up against them.
Well, let's find out those names for those of you that don't know. Here is Team Astral Authority.
Astral Authority. Transonics. El Brochacho. Coviiii. KhaoticPurpose. MOR Wolves.
Astral Authority, the favorites to win the World Championships for Console Smite. I mean, El Brochacho is a name that we have heard in the Smite competitive scene for years.
Yeah, he's been playing in the PC side of things before, SPL Challenger as well. He's been around the block. He knows what it takes to win. He's been playing with a lot of experienced players from both realms, and this is what helped bring Astral Authority together, his leadership guiding them.
Exactly, yeah. From what I'm hearing, he's the one that brought them all together, and he's the one that have made this squad work and get these players communicating with each other, and it's paid off this year,
Not just
clearly.
outside of the game, but inside the game. Well, he's the shot caller. He's the one that makes all of the calls for the team.
He's a true support. He's the true selfless type of player you would expect in that support position, always thinking outside the box, not he's willing to kind of take these risks for himself to make sure that's for the greater good. If he's going to sacrifice himself, his team is going to get a lot out of it.
A good support is important, but a good solo might be even more important. And Aggro said that Wolves, the support for Astral Authority, might be the best console player in the world.
It's very difficult to go against Wolves because he has too many styles that you need to prepare for, whether it's the Odin, the Loki, or any Guardian that he really wants to. And whenever you have to deal with literally the trifecta of soul lane type of gods, you're in a bundle.
I know, and look at that, KD. Look at that average damage as well.
4.5.
Absolutely painful for anyone who's going up against.
Yep.
And they're going to be going up against Obey Alliance. Let's see that roster.
Zachsy. pbnjellly. Delta Marine. Myflin. IamDwurst.
Now, I know you already talked about Zachsy being a great player, but he was also an analyst last year, so he definitely has that insight that a lot of players might need going into a game like this, being aware of what Astral Authority can bring.
A surgical mindset that he brings to his team, and honestly, he's not afraid to box as well. He can show off his brute as well as his mind, and that's something that Obey Alliance is going to be bringing to the table here. Transonics versus Zachsy is going to be a lot of fireworks. Both of these hunters like to go at it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it because it's really, really important to have that analyst-type mind on your team to really make calls, give information to your bigger shot caller so you can make the right decisions and make these big plays.
Yeah, Myflin is definitely the emotional leader of their team and likes to play a bit aggressively, although I don't know if he's going to be that aggressive against Authority.
I mean, it's very possible, honestly. Both of these teams have played against each other for so long. They scrimmed against each other time in and time out. So the mindset of both of these teams is like, how have they prepared since the SCL Fall Finals? Because before that, they have each other's playbook, basically.
Now we got Myflin up here, the emotional leader that I was saying about. He likes to pick warriors, which is typical, of course, in a jungle role right now. Maybe we're going to see some Guardian picks, but it definitely seemed like Assassins did quite well in that last console fight that we saw.
It was very intense to see, honestly, how Chang'e was able to, get into the thick of things. That Susanoo in game number 3, diving the backline. And Myflin is no stranger towards bringing Assassins. I think one of his preferred gods to go to every now and then is Hun Bats.
Yeah, and looking at that KDO, though, a vast, vast difference between who he's going up against. So he has a tall task ahead of him, but this is their home, right? This is their turf. Yes, they've had a tough year, but this is where they've last been shining.
That's a good point that you mentioned here, the fact that Obey Alliance are very comfortable. They've been playing together for so long. Minus Zachsy, the synergy there is just so solid, but you look at the opposite side, Astral Authority has so much momentum behind them. Season 4 is just screaming their name, winning spring split, winning summer, doing really well here in the fall.
We've already seen one upset, though, today. We said that Myth Gaming shouldn't have been here.
Well, they got here, and they won.
And they're in the finals, so who knows? Obey could easily take this game. They're the previous World Championships back when they were eager.
Honestly, this could have easily been the finals between these two teams specifically, but here in the semifinals, I'm expecting a lot of interesting picks.
Well, we're about to go into those picks right now, everyone. We are ready for game number 1. It is Astral Authority versus Obey Alliance picks and bans. Whew, I think we're going to see a Sobek first pick or ban.
Honestly, Dwurst really likes Sobek. He's not afraid to go away from the Warriors every now and then, whether it's the Xingqian, whether it's the Sobek. So you might be onto something here, Kelly.
I don't even think it's Dwurst, though. I think someone on Astral as well enjoys that, and I'm trying to look for it right now, but I can't find it.
Well, Wolves will play like literally anything in that solo lane.
Yeah.
Brochacho likes to flex as well. He's not afraid to whip out the Ares, the Ymir every now and then. So we could see some aggressive options for both of these teams.
It's always so interesting seeing these teams that scrim each other a lot go into a competitive game because they have to bring out something new, or they just play what they've been playing in scrims, and it comes down to raw skill.
Susana banned out first. We talked about that Assassin jungle just a bit earlier. It seems like they don't want that to be on a strat. Oh, and Soul pick.
Soul for Obey Alliance, it's Delta Marine in the mid-roll that really likes this goddess. It has a lot of safety. You use your third ability, the Disapparate. After a few seconds, you're going to go into the immunity frames, just get out of dodge.
Delta Marine also won VIP last year and is a phenomenal player, is considered one of the best mid laners in the game.
Yes, he's just always been known to make a lot of the plays, which is honestly enabled by his frontliners as well. Both Myflin and pbnjellly is not afraid to go out of position to enable and allow Delta Marine to just pop off.
I have a bit of a concerns though with Astral Authority, although the players know that we know that they're fantastic at land, but KhaoticPurpose seems to have a bit of tournament jitters. He didn't play super well last year at LAN.
Sure, last year was a different story here. At the end of it, he was trying to kind of like find his groove with his former team there, but this time around, he's gotten that experience under his belt now, so he kind of knows what it takes to really succeed in. And with the supporting cast of Astral Authority, the leadership from Brochacho, he's got the mindset now to win.
We got an Osiris ban and a Rom ban coming out from Astral Authority. Or not Rom ban, I'm sorry, Uller.
One thing I'm noticing here so far is that Obey are really taking their time with these bans, whereas Astral are immediately responding. With both of their bans so far have come within a second or two after Obey's choice. So it looks like either Astral are more prepared or Obey are just taking their time, being patient and talking things out.
I just think it's going to be so hard to ban out Astral Authority. So many of their players play so many different things in their roles.
That's what makes them so strong here, honestly. And I think Astral are picking very quickly on purpose. You were talking about, you know, the differences between picking early versus, you know, saving it to the last second. And Astral Authority like to get those mind games in, and any little advantage they can gain, especially during picks and bans, they'll try to go for it.
Not much of a surprise of Coviiii there with how amazing he was in that last set. And a Sobek comes out, not first pick, but close.
Close enough.
No surprise to see it coming out early, though.
A lot of control here as well for both of these teams with just the Guardian. You're looking at Xingqian for Astral, Sobek for Obey Alliance, and early Discordia.
There we go. This is the second Discordia we're seeing of the tournament. She just has such easy damage and an easy CC that is insane.
I think it was Nocturnes from NozQ that picked the Discordia to start things off in HRX, really showing what Discordia was kind of capable of, going for a bursty mage option build as opposed to, I think, more cooldowns, because the way I look at Discordia personally is more utility style, right? You're trying to spam the Strife, that second ability, to get the madness effect.
Yeah, so this is a relatively new god. Do you think this is something they've both been practicing against each other, or is this Obey's trick that was up their sleeve?
I think both of these teams have a lot of tricks. Obey Alliance locking in Discordia this early on means that they probably have way more in their playbook if they're willing to bring out Discordia in game number 1.
I agree.
All right, we're seeing an Odin pick, and of course a Wheelish being banned out from Astral Authority.
The Odin's a little bit odd to me. Yes, I guess they could just building a composition around Coviiii, but a lot of these people can already get out of Odin cages.
Well, the thing is, Discordia, if she uses that third ability for the cooldown reductions to be offensive in the fight, well, here comes the Odin cage, no escape any longer. And this has definitely been calculated because immediately after the Odin ban, boom, a Wheelish banned away.
Yeah. Can't counter that Odin without a Wheelish. We saw it earlier today with, I think it was the Southeast Asia PC team, actually.
All right, a Chang'e ban. Looks like they're afraid of Obey being on Chang'e there.
It's a very easy god to play in that dual lane position, or at least a safe god is a better way of putting it, because every time you get bullied out, you just get back into the lane. And I know Astral Authority's Transonics is willing to go to the tower line to box you if available.
Yeah, Transonics, but he plays a lot of different gods. We've even seen him play Merc over in the duo lane before.
Every now and then he likes to, you know, go off the wall, and I wouldn't be surprised if he picks something unsuspecting. Coviiii particularly can flex between that dual lane or the mid position, but Coviiii has been known to play phenomenal mages, so I wouldn't be
But that's
expecting
online. At LAN, Coviiii seems to have trouble.
Well, he's kind of leans on his more experienced players to kind of go off here, but Coviii's definitely been known to also make some plays here and there at LAN. I think it was at Valencia. He had a lot of good plays there.
I want to point out the Zeus ban quickly here, just taking it away on Obey's side, away from Astral Authority, because they have that Odin. They don't want that Thunder Cage.
Wow, okay, a dodgy pick. And I was even saying, I was a bit confused in last set when we saw a dodgy ban.
Dodgy is just really strong, honestly. She has a lot of damage over time that you can just get available, especially when Discordia goes in that stealth little circle. You basically pop your bleed, and you're going to be doing a lot of damage, forcing out very early Aegis. Not to mention there, maybe even force out an early Golden Apple for the CC immunity so you don't get pulled by Dodgy's chains.
Looks like, I guess, is Fafnir going to be over in the jungle?
Yeah. No. Fafnir supports Sobek solo lane, Coviiii.
That's interesting, because Jelly, the support, loves Sobek. So I would have thought he would have been playing support, but I guess Solobek obviously makes more sense over in that lane.
Yeah, I think they needed a different support, because with the Dodgy pick, you're basically not going to be peeled by Coviiii or Sobek because you're immune in your 2 on Dodgy versus any knockup, so they'll really be all over that Discordia.
Whoa!
Fafnir.
A Chang'e pick?
It's locked in, too! Astral Authority pulling a fast one, last picking this Chang'e.
I mean, her team fight presence is great with her ult. Of course, the more people she hits, the longer that stun is. And that little dodge that she has that can dodge literally anything will be so good against Discordia and Sobek. But how does she fit into Astral's team?
I mean, they don't need a burst mage, right? They have burst with Coviiii, they have burst with Dodgy. They need the consistent damage. And I think it actually fits very, very well into their comp. And this may be the thing they had up their sleeve.
So are you giving it to Astral Authority in this game one?
I very much like Astral Authority's draft.
I think that if Obey Alliance can hold the early game well enough, I think that Obey Alliance have the better late game composition. So I could see Obey Alliance stalling out and winning in the late. But if all things go according to plan, Astral Authority, they get early game momentum, they win.
So we're giving it both to Astral Authority.
Yes.
I am.
All right, casters, who do you think is going to take this game?
I'm not answering that question, Kelford. Not going to happen. Tom Badger here, standing next to Taco. But one thing I am excited about, so we were talking off air, and you were like, Obey early on when they had 3 characters. You said Obey had, you know, 2 of the top couple of picks. But I said it's all about the how everything comes together. And right now, Astral looks dope.
Astral had a phenomenal draft, and I'm really loving how they rounded it out with that Chang'e selection, because you have that high burst being introduced from KhaoticPurpose, taking a risk with that Daji. But Coviiii on this Chang'e, so much setup and so much burst.
Yeah, it's the setup that really I think makes it for me. Coviiii is going to be able to just find the giant waxing moon, stun a couple of folks, and I mean, flat out, Wolves, uncontested best solo laner on console, on arguably his best character.
And that's what also surprises me heavily, is that Obey Alliance would permit Wolves to get a pick so uncontested as well. They let it slide through in the first 3. We've been so accustomed to seeing Astral Authority have this Odin pick banned away from them the entire season.
Yeah, it's very interesting, I'll say, to see Obey let that one through. It means they've got something up their sleeves. Delta Marine on the Discordia, certainly something I want to bring to light. Definitely an interesting choice here. Mid lane, a little bit of damage, and we're seeing it work right there.
And it's not really much of a surprise to see Izanami and Fafnir trying to take advantage of their dual lane advantage. Not a whole lot that Brochacho can do. He's trying, and you got to give him that much, but he can't stop that level 2 from happening.
No, but it's that obnoxious presence that I think is important. You know, don't let your opposition get anything easy, anything for free. I mean, Brochacho can do that or sit on the side of the lane, right?
Yeah, all jokes aside, it was a very smart play by Brochacho to at least show presence in the jungle, because it meant that he was keeping Obey off of his red buff and purple buff from the full commit. Now they're going to go ahead and look at the purple buff, but beforehand, they actually forfeited trying to steal away that red, knowing that that rotation was coming through from Coviiii and Transonics.
Transonics going to jump over the root. Nice play there. Not going to get hit by the Strife. One of Discordia's better abilities early on, that's the downside to this character, I think, is the fact that she just does not bring much in the early game.
She has a whole ton of burst to make up for it, though, especially from her second ability. It really starts racking up the damage as the game progresses. It's mostly about staying safe, but looking at Astral's draft, again, I'm coming back to this Daji. That is probably such a clutch pick for Astral Authority to have facing against the Discordia.
A lot of dive prowess for Astral Authority. The Daji is able to get out of tower nonsense. So is the Chang'e with the Moonlight Dance. There's just a lot of options there. Damage on the KhaoticPurpose, bringing the Daji down to half. And the nice flip. Sprint is activated towards the end of it, however. And KP will be absolutely fine. Nice plays coming out from Obey, staying aggressive.
With the way that KhaoticPurpose was plucked there, it almost seems as though there might have been a bit of aggression coming through from Astral, and a very wise disengage from IamDwurst.
Astral's composition screams mid-game, which is very interesting. So a lot of times we see teams focus either on early or late. Astral's focusing right on in the middle.
But the primary purpose of Obey Alliance, at least from this dual lane, is you always want your Izanami to establish that map pressure. I would like to see Obey try and rotate elsewhere pretty early on, though, knowing that they're going to have full control. pbnjellly probably doesn't really need to stick around with Zachsy. Zachsy's never going to have an issue clearing out that lane.
Well, there's that Daji ult coming out of it. Looks like it was used defensively, as nobody's going to be grabbed and pulled to that pole. Half HP on the Assassin, and IamDwurst and Myflin still just being annoying here on the right side of the map.
And KhaoticPurpose, after IamDwurst missed that pluck, was just trying to get some of that bleed damage going. Now the ultimate's going to be popped out from Wolves. 1,000 cuts, trying to deal as much as possible to Myflin.
Yeah, very interesting ring, I think. Having those ultimates not together. I think if Wolves' ults and KhaoticPurpose's ult is up, maybe they find first blood, but disjointed. And so Wolves walks away empty-handed, flipped right on top of Myflin. Probably not what Myflin wanted. and Wolves is going to walk away.
Also, Wolves didn't have his bird bomb available at the moment either when he deployed the cage, maybe hoping that Dodgy could bring a little bit more pressure, but still, it's pretty interesting to see how closely Myflin is sticking to IamDwurst, kind of recognizing that this Sobek is probably going to get out-pressured pretty heavily by Wolves and Chaotic.
Yeah, absolutely. With that in mind, you've got to alter your game just a little bit and play it a little bit safer, but that's just in lane. Once we see everybody start to rotate and really make noise, IamDwurst is going to be a problem on the Sobek.
I'm also really keeping an eye out for Myflin on this Coviiii. He's been such a heavily contested god for quite some time on the box. Typically banned away often than not in the first couple of bans. And so the fact that Obey was able to pick him up, I'm sure that Myflin is ecstatic.
I mean, Myflin just wants to play a character that can beat you up. Myflin is always looking to be obnoxious, always looking for the kill, always looking to just be in your face, and that is exactly what Coviiii wants to do almost all of the time.
We've been seeing so much Robin, for example, from Myflin this past couple of times that he's come out to play, and so Coviiii can kind of fulfill that same exact mentality, whereas you don't have as many abilities to your name, but the dive potential that it can provide, especially since that transformation gives him that initial health shield as well, that's going to be incredibly beneficial if they're looking to try and take out Coviiii early on.
Well, there's the jump in from Jelly right there into 2. Unfortunately, he's the one brought down a half. Nice play by Coviiii. Using the ultimate. Brochacho waits for the transformation. Tosses the support. Sport jumps out. However, Brochacho hit by the ultimate from the mid lane. Not going to be enough. It's KhaoticPurpose that puts Astral on the board. pbnjellly falling down.
But they're not done just yet. Transonics actually in so much trouble himself, and Delta Marine's going to make quick work of him. Brochacho, Coviiii, and KhaoticPurpose all happy to get out of that last team fight, but still, first blood in favor of Astral Authority.
Very important as well. Astral is actually kind of hanging behind as far as just the general farm is concerned. And so AA able to even things up with the kill. Transonics falling down, unfortunately, as well. Gives the kill over to Delta Marine. And as I said before, Discordia, she doesn't have a strong early game, but her late game is quite scary. So giving a kill over that way, not ideal.
It just seemed as though Transonics really wanted to make that rotation in, but he kind of got pinched by the rest of Obey as well, trying to provide that follow-up peel for IamDwurst. Pretty wise trade out as well. Probably favor killing Transonics over having your support die.
Sure. And we got to see a little bit of the side effect of Coviiii playing the Chang'e. We talked a lot about the aggression and the setup and very little about the actual healing. And the heal came in clutch, kind of saving Brochacho's life there.
I don't think anybody was close enough to try and get one last in-hand to pick up Brochacho to begin with, but just in case, always nice to have that safety net behind you.
Especially with Discordia. Just throw that star out there and maybe you might get the ricochet. You know, you gotta be careful about that stuff.
And the cripple on that ultimate though from Discordia, that's gonna be pretty important considering that it's more likely than not gonna be Brochacho trying to initiate these team fights.
Right here on the right side of the map, IamDwurst is gonna start things off, tossing Brochacho, half HP already for the captain support. He's gonna toss IamDwurst back into his team. Half HP for the Sobek. This time Brochacho again gets hit. Ring in front. Meanwhile, the Paolo on the backside. IamDwurst still relatively low. Dodgy coming through. The truck is locked, but he's the one making it rock. Myflin gets the kill over the assassin, and there's pbnjellly following up as well. 3 for nothing for the defending world champs.
That hurts to see for Astral Authority. What looked like such a favorable team fight for them was immediately turned around as soon as Myflin deployed his ultimate.
That was so rough. Obey had everything that they wanted, and IamDwurst coming through in the clutch. Astral locked him down, and he just didn't care. He turned around, sickening strike, heals up, gets a kill for himself. Tier 2 tower falls down as well. 4-1, Obey Alliance take the lead.
And this is what hurts more than the initial team fight itself. Losing that T1 tower in mid, you're immediately having to give up that pressure on the map, on top of the fact that Obey Alliance now has the buff timers from the solo lane side of Astral Authority. Myflin got away with taking both the speed buff and the blue. It's going to make it really difficult to prevent Obey from making those rotations in advance and trying to keep Astral locked away from those buffs.
Not only did they get those buffs, but also we just saw them get the oracles as well. So they have vision on the Gold Fury. They've got the timers on the right side of the map. Obey have all of the control right now for this match, and Astral have to find a way to wrestle back.
It's still not enough of a lead to where Astral can't bounce back by any means, but to have a 200-odd gold game explode into 2,000 plus,
Sure.
that is a massive win for Obey Alliance. And I mean, if they keep taking those sort of fights, it's not going to look too pretty for Astral later on down the line.
That said, I think later on down the line is exactly where Astral want to go. Discordia is a little scary, but dodgy in the late game, you're not getting away. And the invisibility is going to be taken out. Going to be trouble right now for Zachsy as he's surrounded by two. The ultimate from Chang'e tosses in the wrong direction. Transonics gets the kill with the basic attack. And Astral Authority answer back. It's 4-2.
Keeping in mind that those two ultimates were burned from Astral, Obey could potentially look for a play, mostly one that would favor out targeting Brochacho since he doesn't have that CC immunity anymore. And again, going back to Delta Marine and the Discordia, the cripple on that golden apple is going to be pretty devastating should Brochacho jump in for the initiation.
Right. However, we have seen some nice ultimates out of Brochacho. And at the end of the day, really, that's what you're looking for, the control out of that Chang'e. Brochacho on this character is pretty much exactly what he's known for. High damage, control-oriented Guardian. I mean, he made a name for himself on gods like Ares, and I think Chang'e fits right on in there.
Such a fast-paced game from both of these teams. KhaoticPurpose trying to return some of that poke damage to Delta Marine, but quick little escape thanks to Discordia's kit. It's going to get him right out of that danger. And Astral just keep on setting up. They really want to find a pick.
They've got it at this point. I mean, easy close game right here so far. But here's the thing. Astral came into this match with a ton of confidence, and right now KP gonna jump right on top. Hit by the ultimate from Zachsy, could be trouble. Right up into the ultimate. Gotta land it, can't find it, finally does. There's the stun, Assassin still in trouble. The stuns are dropped, Zachsy forced forward. Where's the basic, Trans? Where's the basic? He can't find it. Finally does, but it's a little bit too late. KhaoticPurpose falls to the wayside.
So much time invested on that kill that pbnjellly's now trying to buy his team enough time to rotate over. He's already invested going up into that draconic form, and Astral Authority is gonna choose to back off. Pretty wise choice considering there's really not much else they're gonna get out of the Fafnir unless Jelly decides to see if Delta Marine wants to set up with him.
And there's vision. Astral Authority know exactly where that Fafnir is, so he's hiding around a corner. It's not fooling anybody. pbnjellly stuck back there, and Transonics and Brochacho just kind of zoning.
These engagements have to be cleaner from Astral Authority, even though they're not the team necessarily favored for the early game matches. Speaking of which, Portal Demon, that's all Obeys.
Yeah, Portal Demon taken out by Obey as Astral Authority show their heavy hand on the left side of the map. So usually we see the opposite. This time, the right side objective taken. Brochacho blows the ultimate looking for the vision, and he gets it. No, he doesn't. Obey get both of the oracles. And Brochacho's ultimate, that's not what Astral want.
Delta Marine just managing to snipe those away, and that's all credited to her burst damage. She deals an insane amount of damage, and left unchecked, this is kind of what you can expect to see. And again, Astral Authority just have to find that kill on Zachsy way faster than what they did.
Yeah, right now the teams are separated by about 1,500, give or take. So Astral very much still in this game. But as I was mentioning earlier, Taco, I mean, these guys, Astral came in, I think Astral came in expecting to win this game. And I think that their approach, let's change that to a question. Do you think that their approach gets them in trouble?
I don't think their approach will get them in trouble simply because of the fact that this is a mid to late game oriented draft. You've got the Chang'e investment alongside the Odin. Odin's primary purpose here probably being to do just this, cage the opposition, keep them locked down as long as possible, see if anybody can rotate. In this instance, Wolves just wants to keep Myflin off his tower.
Exactly, the ring comes down. Myflin not in much trouble himself, but certainly can finish the damage onto that tower on the right-hand side. Wolves still really maintaining control of this solo lane.
It's the space control from Astral Authority that they're really going to be looking out for, but they've got to be careful not to stay too grouped up. Otherwise, the madness from Discordia is going to knock them all out of place.
Well, there's the ultimate from Myflin. I hear a bunch of players screaming on the stage. Ultimate from Brochacho as well. KhaoticPurpose on the back line trying to escape. Finally does. Coviiii dances. Coviiii dies. pbnjellly with the last hit, but it's Wolves that takes care of Myflin. KP with a perfect Aegis, avoiding the Sobek ultimate, can't avoid the pluck. Help from his friends. Brochacho finds the stance on the tier 2 tower. And now IamDwurst is the one in trouble. Great play by KhaoticPurpose.
KP might be getting a little baited by Brochacho, though. Chacho's got IamDwurst so low, but if KP tries to risk going in on him, actually, never mind. IamDwurst is going to do Chacho the favor himself, diving into the T2.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? There's nowhere to go. Might as well die, respawn very quickly. So that's kill number 5 for Astral Authority.
Giving the kill to support is usually ideal because
Yeah.
it's the support. Who cares if a Xing10 gets the pickup? But then again, Xing10 can do quite a large amount of damage, although you have to keep in mind, Brochacho's got a little bit of a level gap there between Jelly.
Yeah, he's down about 3 levels to Obey's support. Other than that, Astral Authority generally staying in here. Nice tie game, down 1,000 gold, give or take. But at this point in the game with these two teams, I don't think 1,000 is really something to hang your hat on.
For me, it's the fact that Jelly's been doing just
Nice.
this.
Oh.
Great initiation by Myflin there.
Yeah, just no follow-up. Myflin that's the second time he finds multiple people in that knockup, but just doesn't have the follow-up.
Was able to pull KhaoticPurpose's beads in the process, though, so with no actives available, the next team fight, KP's got to really pick his positioning on.
Yeah, and you can tell Obey Alliance also a little bit careful here as their beads are down for the most part as well. So both these teams trying to play cautious here around these smaller objectives.
Considering that this is the first match between these two teams, and although they're quite familiar with each other, this has been so incredibly fast-paced, and KhaoticPurpose again looking to try and find anybody with his ultimate.
Yeah, forces the ult out of Discordia for what it's worth. So, 1 for 1, no problem. Wolves and KP both have the speed buff, so they've been able to successfully invade Obey Alliance as far as that's concerned.
And Brochacho also invested his ultimate, I think kind of expecting KPs to pull somebody else in with him. Unfortunately, that didn't pan out in their favor. It's just something to really keep an eye out for, because once this team is actually grouped up in the jungle, all 5 members strong, it's going to be really hard for Obey to work their way around the front line to even get into the back line. You've got to go through the Xing10 ultimate, and then there's always the Odin Cage to follow up.
And that's what you just mentioned and what you just touched on is basically what you want to look for in this Astral Authority composition. KP is going to be hyper aggressive with this ultimate, look to clip people up with it, pull them in, and then Brochacho will trust that they would get pulled, go into the spin cycle, toss them right away, and if they're still in trouble, Wolves drops the ring.
Another interesting factor, too, is that Astral has a great draft for interrupting Izanami on her escape. So for Zachsy, if he's even a toe out of line, he's probably going to be getting picked off. And sure, he's had a couple of early spills. Those have been heavy investment kills, though, for Astral.
16.5 here. Obey Alliance have 6 kills to Astral's 5. Gold's very close. Less than 1,000 gold separate these two squads. Meanwhile, Transonics taking a little bit of poke from the Hunter, forced to jump away. Brochacho could get collapsed on here. And Myflin's going to follow up, forcing the ultimate out of the support player.
Brochacho did have to expend his ultimate, and it seems as though Jelly and Myflin aren't quite ready to give this one up. Transonics having to keep an eye out in his own jungle, and Coviiii and Brochacho gonna look to farm away this red buff, but it won't go uncontested this time.
Myflin right side, the rest of the squad on the left-hand side. Again, players getting loud, and Delta Marine showing why. Elmo Tracho falling down. Coviiii could be next. Pop, pop. Myflin gets the kill off of the assist from the mid lane mage, and that's gonna be 2 for nothing again. An uncontested team fight goes the way of Obey Alliance.
This game has been all Delta Marine so far. The amount of chaos that he is causing in this backline is absolutely insane. Wolves right now under so much fire, actually having to use his ultimate. KP with a great ult, but just no follow-up damage.
That needs to happen offensively. We keep seeing KhaoticPurpose going in, using the ultimate offensively, and not finding that success. If we see KhaoticPurpose with that sort of success off of that ultimate, Taco, I think this game is completely different.
And here's what Astral Authority were really fearing against Obey. Those Gold Fury complete shredded by the Izanami.
Yeah, easy objective going down there. The team fight beforehand, plus the OBJ brings up about a 4,000 gold lead here now. Astral Authority looking up at Obey Alliance. Still, I wouldn't be too concerned if you're an Astral fan, and I wouldn't be too, thrilled if I'm an Obey fan. I think both these teams are still in a fantastic position to do what they want as far as win the game. But Taco, Obey Alliance here are just playing better Smite.
Oh, Delta Marine has looked awesome on this Discordia. It's almost as if he's been playing this god all season long, but she's a new one, and he is just piloting her with so much success.
Like I said, as long as you're able to get past that early game, which obviously Obey was, they had a little bit of help there from different players in that lane. And Delta Marine now approaching, level 15 here, full stacked on the Warlock sesh, really able to make it happen.
This all kind of just traces back to that Fire Elementals fight that happened in the earlier stages of the game. Astral Authority losing 3 members to Obey's nothing kind of is what allowed him, Delta Marine, to do just this.
Oh, the miss!
Ultimate's gonna miss on Coviiii, though.
The miss! Brochacho gonna grab 2 and send him away from Coviiii. That's, Coviii's gonna thank his lucky stars.
That damage is absolutely insane. I know he's got a 2-level lead, don't get me wrong, that's understandable, but the fully stacked Warlock Sash on top of that Spear of Desolation, Delta Marine just putting in work.
Myflin on the right side, gonna get jumped on by Wolves, and Wolves surprised by the rest of the enemy team. Half HP for the Odin, locks on Wolfen, but the rest of the team looking for more. Brochacho in trouble, flips to the front, flips to the back, Myflin flips him all the way home. That's gonna be number 9 for Obey.
It was almost like a line segment for Obey Alliance there. Even when you escaped one member, you had the very next one to try and jump over. And now that's going to be a very quick portal team, and actually going to be contested here by KP, and now Coviii's looking to try and dance away to freedom.
Yeah, 2 players get pulled, again the defensive ult. Coviiii trying to deal with things, and Myflin says absolutely no. 4 kills for the jungler. And one more time, Obey find themselves up and doubling Astral's kill count.
This isn't completely out of Astral Authority's hands just yet. We have discussed time and time again, hold on though, Wolves could be in a fair amount of trouble here. Dwurst's gonna try and zone away the Odin, Bird Bomb being a great opportunity to steal. But one thing we did miss out on during that entire engagement, look at that T2 tower in the mid lane for Obey. Transonics was just slowly chipping away at that lane.
Exactly, and that's, he's trying to keep his team in this one. Likely gonna get a tier 1 tower, at least some damage on it as he's backing here, sniffing out the rotation from Obey Alliance. So not gonna get the tier 1 tower on the left-hand side of the map like he does in the middle. So just securing a little bit of gold for him and his squad.
Better safe than sorry. When you're level 18, almost the highest level in the game, which is kind of crazy when you think about it as well, because both Wolves and Transonics are ahead by a decent amount compared to who they're laning against, and Obey's the one with the 3K gold lead.
Well, I mean, Obey has been the team to pick up the Gold Fury. Obey has been the team to pick up the other objectives as well. Right now, KP, well, he's gonna hit Myflin, and this could be trouble. Couple of ultimates, and Myflin thrown towards the ceiling, and down he goes. Wolves gets the kill, 4 players surrounding him. Astral need to continue this team fight, and it doesn't look like they have the speed.
That's the investment, though, that Astral Authority has to come up with a kill for, and they were able to find it. Myflin also being fairly tanky between the reinforced boots, the Ankile, and the Glad Shield. Mass Money as well, his entire build actually is just purely based around being this hybrid, tanky, but super high damage warrior.
He's looking to be in the middle of everybody. Even the meditation shows that he wants to be in the middle of his own team as well, right? So Obey Alliance are going to depend on Myflin to, whether it's initiate or continue the fight, just be in the middle of everything.
That Phantom being down, though, is only going to trigger Astral even more to play a little bit more aggressive, because this is their time to shine. It is when that Phantom isn't available, you have to capitalize and punish the enemy team for being a little overextended, honestly. There wasn't really any good reason for Myflin and Dwurst to be in that area. They really just wanted the buff invade, even though there were 4 members from Astral hanging around.
Exactly, and you know what? If that's the way you're gonna find a death, I'm kind of okay with it. Because it's essentially Obey Alliance seeing just how far they can take it. Can we invade this on 4 people? All right, no, we're not that far ahead yet. Maybe in a couple of minutes.
Maybe in a couple of minutes, though, Coviii's going to be even more online. Chang'e she might not seem like it at first, but once you make it through that awkward early game stage, she is not just a healer any longer. Especially if you line up and your team gets hit by that ultimate, you're all gonna be standing there for an uncomfortably long period of time.
That stun can be very, very obnoxious. pbnjellly looking for the ultimate, finds it on the back line. There's a little bit of help from El Brochacho. Still relatively low. Brochacho the first one to fall. Dwurst on the good side of that one. Transonics, however, takes care of Myflin. Pulled in and pushed down. Wolves on the backside gets taken down by the mid lane mage. 1 for 1 for 1. Back and forth we go. Dwurst could be next. The ricochet won't hit, but KP will. It's going to be 2 for 2 so far.
And the beads are having to be forced from KhaoticPurpose. Gold Fury was leashed a little bit during that engagement. Zachsy and Jelly both looking to try and find him on the backside. Transonics is going to kill him. It's actually Coviiii.
Coviiii finds the kill. Honestly, what a crazy team fight. That's what that was. Back and forth and back and forth. Nobody wins.
In my opinion, that was the best possible play, though, that KhaoticPurpose could have made from that situation. He was either dead to Jelly, or he TPs over the wall and tries to commit to the Izanami.
Coviii's got to be careful here. All right, able to get away from there. Meanwhile, Trans trying to fight by himself. Couple of basics against the mid lane mage. There's going to be the Aegis, still looking for it. 1 shot, 2 shot, see you later.
And here's the scary part about Transonics getting all that free farm in the mid lane and the duo lane. Even though Obey was winning those fights initially, Transonics is a force to be reckoned with right now.
Level 20, ton of gold, looking fantastic. The hunter out of the hunter, just insane. Astral Authority's been down 3,000 at the moment, but the momentum seems to be in their favor.
Absolutely taking off right now. Could potentially see him going for the Aussie next item, but his team's got more eyes set onto the Gold Fury. They're gonna pull Myflin in the process, really trying to take out the column before anything else breaks out.
I hear Brochacho's voice distinctly. This is where Astral looks to turn the game. Jelly and Dwurst in trouble. Thorns are activated. Big ultimate coming out from Zachsy, but it's just not enough. 5-1-5 for the hunter out of New York City, and Astral Authority are bringing this one back.
It's like a switch for these guys. They're just losing every single fight, every single objective, and then out of seemingly nowhere, they're just coming alive and destroying. They're just like tearing through Obey.
You want to know where it's coming from? The left side of the map. They called Transonics. They said, yo, want to come through? He said, yes, and got all of these kills, all of these assists, and Astral is just doing it.
Got to party with the rest of his boys, but Transonics got to be careful not to get too cocky here. There could be a rotation, though, that he always has to keep an eye out for, and full creep wave in front of him as well, and he doesn't really have that much mana to spare.
Man, I don't think he cares. Transonics still dealing with Zachsy here on the left side of the map. Meanwhile, the rest of his team taking care of business, getting the portal demon. There's going to be a pull-in, pbnjellly low. Up, down, all the way down. Coviiii gets kill number 2. Transonics wipes his hands, back to base, will come through the portal, and Astral will think about their next move.
Next move might be that Fire Giant by the looks of it. Jelly's gonna be dead for another 30 seconds, and being forced into a 4v5 situation against a team like Astral Authority, they will make you come into this objective. They will make you try and fight them, and they'll probably end up winning it.
Transonics solo on the objective right now. Half HP on the Fire Giant. Dwurst wrapping around the back end. Coviiii doesn't realize it. He's gonna get flipped up by the Sobek. Myflin up front. Meanwhile, the rest of Astral looking for the kills. Again, a big ultimate coming out from Zachsy. Doesn't seem to be enough. There's KhaoticPurpose all the way deep. Meanwhile, on the back end, Coviiii getting controlled, but it's all about Transonics.
Everybody forgot about Delta Marine on the back as well, except for Dwurst. He was alone trying to help peel for the Discordia. Obey Alliance is just getting so split up in every single engagement. The damage is here from Astral Authority, and Transonics is making such quick work of everyone.
Just Transonics out of control. He's the top farm of the game, and he's showing everybody what he can do with it. The double lifesteal plus the Chin Sai, and everybody else just getting mowed down by the Ho-Yi.
And again, Astral Authority pulling the Fire Giant, but this time they're just gonna take it for themselves. And with only 2 T2 towers remaining on the map for Obey Alliance, probably kind of nice for Obey though, considering that they're so spread apart from each other. It forces Astral to decide to commit to either one lane or look to spread all the way across the map. That's precious Fire Giant time ticking away.
And right now they're making use of it. Tier 2 tower falls down. Astral Authority puts the gold in their hand. Previously, Obey Alliance basically won the early game, the entire early game, even at his foot in the mid game. But here at 28 minutes, Astral Authority with a 7,000 gold lead.
It's just the past 7-8 minutes have been all Astral Authority's game. And again, it's just absurd how this team, no matter how grim the team fights have been looking throughout the entirety of the match, whether it's a 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 gold lead, they do not care. Once they're grouped, they're a machine.
Because, and this is exactly what it was. Astral Authority were fighting 4-on-4 and losing because if you look at the draft, Taco, that 4-on-4 loses. But Transonics just bought a power pot. Other people are trying to get to level 20. Transonics just bought the power pot. I mean, coming down this left side lane, Astral Authority are just looking to fight.
All Transonics has to do is watch his positioning and wait for Daddy Wolves to drop that Odin cage.
Which, to be fair, has been an issue for Transonics in the past, so it is absolutely possible. That said, Rochacho pushing all the way up front, not gonna find the grab, but will avoid getting hit by an ultimate himself.
And that's still perfect because it was Discordia's ultimate at that, an ultimate that's actually so clutch because of the cripple and the intoxication effect that it provides. It makes it really difficult to work around in a team fight, no longer a fear.
There's the ultimate out of KP. He's got to find somebody. Won't, instead jump right on down. There's a pull. A little bit of a plug from Sobek. Phoenix not being focused on just yet. The sun's dropped down from Ho-Yi. But again, nice defense from Obey Alliance.
But it is going to be able to force everybody from Obey back off and away from that left-hand Phoenix. Astral Authority making quick work of that, just like they have the rest of the map. And now they're looking to siege down this mid lane Phoenix as well.
pbnjellly still has his ultimate available, as does Zachsy. Scratch that, using it as help. He tries to find his way back into the fountain. Mid lane Phoenix gonna fall down as well. Astral, 2 burrs in their pocket.
And the fact that Astral is able to push so deeply into Obey Alliance's base, again, it's only splitting them up even further. DWRST actually just disappeared to KhaoticPurpose.
I was about to say that was a great flip from DWRST. The problem was he got beat up in the process. Right side Phoenix gonna fall down as well. Astral Authority here, jumping forward, not jumping backward. 4 players alive in Obey jerseys. KP trying to pull everybody. Transonics makes it 3. There's Coviiii making it 2. Myflin and Delta Marine, the only ones able to defend the Titan. And that's that. Astral Authority, they're gonna take game 1.
And Myflin almost fell in the process, but was able to hold on to life. Unfortunately, wasn't able to hold on to game number 1, because that's all Astral Authorities.
And I think that was just classic AA. They come through and they stuck to their game plan. They had the obvious synergy between the jungle and the support, but really, they were just waiting for Trans.
And when Trans showed up, he showed up. It was just completely tearing through every single member on Obey Alliance. That unchecked solo farm just did milestones for him.
Big grin, smiles and miles for Chris, otherwise known as Transonics. Kelly, let's break it down.
Thank you so much, F. Just like they were saying, guys, that Ho-Yi on Transonics, although at the early and mid game, didn't do much, but he also didn't get behind when the rest of his team was. Finally, when the late game came in, he just destroyed them all.
It was the power spike of Ho-Yi. Once you max out that mark of the Golden Crow, now you're hitting these tanks, 2 to 3 times as hard.
Yeah, around the same time, he's finishing his kin size and all that, and he's starting to rotate, and he's able to get these kills.
He was just so confident, going aggressively against Obey Alliance's red buff there. He's like, yeah, it was a 2 for 2, 3 for 3, whatever. I'm just going to keep pushing forward.
He knew his limits.
Use the beads as well. It's like, you're not going to stop me from taking away your red buff.
Exactly, just what you said, Ro. He knows his limits, and it definitely seemed like that was Obey Alliance's game from the start, all the way until I think it was like the 20-minute mark, until they finally had a poor team fight. It seems towards the late game, they were just not able to really group together. They kept splitting up, and Astral Authority was able to get down 1 or 2 members before they were able to really come together.
It was the combination of the late game damage from Ho-Yi, also the utility style of the Chang'e being provided there between the Lotus Crown, the Rod of Asclepius. It finally showed as to why they picked it.
Right.
I agree. His weaknesses kind of showed around the time where he had spent a lot of gold on that Obsidian Shard, and he kind of moved away from that utility build, but once he got the Rod of Asclepius, moved back into the utility role, he started to support his team and the rest of his damage, and that everybody else came online, including Transonics.
There was also a KhaoticPurpose that was playing the dodge sheet that was a little shaky at first to start, but then once it was late game, he started hitting some of his ultimates, really putting people out of position there. It was very difficult for Myflin sometimes to get out of the action.
Now, that was definitely Obey's game until like around the 15-20 minute mark.
It was.
What happened?
Well, I mean, they started feeling themselves, I think. It was around, I think, 19 minutes or maybe 20 minutes where Myflin actually stole a speed buff, and that's not a big deal at 20 minutes, but he's sitting there taunting, and then he got caught out by all 5 people. And in the next 2 minutes after that, he died another 2 times.
It seems the name of the game is snowballing towards us. Once you get a lead, you try and get more. You get objectives, you get that Gold Fury Fire Giant, and then you take and run with it. At the end of the game, Obey didn't take down a single Tier 2 tower, even at the 27-minute mark.
Yeah, it was just all Astral Authority's game here. Their momentum has been started since the spring split, honestly, between winning the spring, winning the summer here. Nothing has really changed at the fall at all, and I think that Obey Alliance, they were doing a little bit of their homework with some of their picks and bans with the Discordia early on. They were not afraid to bring that out, but now I'm thinking that they might have to stray away from it here because they need to play around Astral Authority's comp more than they need to play around their own.
Well, who knows? Are they scared of the Chang'e, do you think?
I don't think that they're necessarily scared of the Chang'e. I just don't think that it necessarily caught them in expectantly, right? They wanted to play against a normal, typical mage. Raijin wasn't picked or banned that you were talking about behind the scenes, which is very surprising considering it was picked or banned like almost every single game.
I think every single game.
Yeah.
So why didn't we see him, Ro?
I don't know. I guess I think we should have seen him, but they have this cheesy, obviously, Chang'e strat where they said, well, this is going to be better than Raijin in this situation. We don't know what they know, and they've just pulled out the Chang'e.
Both of their god pools are just so diverse that they're willing to
true.
kind of expand, you know, show their cards a little bit early on. They're not too worried whether it's Discordia for one side, Chang'e for the other. They still have a lot in the back foot. You know, Soul being banned really early on against Delta Marine. I think that both of these mages in the mid have too many gods that you ban away from.
Well, we're about